Super Sports Saturday from the Minnesota Motor Company. Craig Olson, me, Jeff Swedberg. Let's see here. How about some girls swimming and diving? Tom Uvaas is here. Tom, one meet to talk about, a tough one against St. Cloud Tech. Lost 99-86, but there's always good things to talk about.
Well, it was a really good meet, and we, first of all, we knew that Tech was going to be. Tech is always tough at their facility, and they got some great athletes there, and so we didn't quite realize that the record was only one loss, and that means that they're actually second in conference at that time. And we kind of designed our lineup for the purpose of kind of looking for sections in state because we only have so many meets left. We have, of course, Thursday's meet against Tech, and we have this Tuesday meet against Sauk Rapids Rice, and then we have COC. And so with 3 meets, we have to kind of figure out some relays or figure out some other positions because we have kids that are in multiple events for sections and figure out where they're going to be. And so with that said, then we made a couple of tweaks in our relays to see what we could do. And it probably cost us 4 or 5 points, but it still would have been a closer meet. But hats off to Tech. They swam a great meet, and we had, again, a lot of fun. We had 13 best times of the season or close to the best times of the season. And we celebrate that. We celebrate accomplishments that the kids did within the race.
Oh, absolutely. You won 5 events as well, and Heidi Buzak continues to amaze in the 50 free and 100 freestyle, again, just a couple of days ago.
Sure, the respect they have for Heidi. We really want to have Heidi swim against one of their good swimmers, Grimmett. And we thought she might be swimming the 50 and the 100s, but Heidi in those 2 events, just so Heidi could have a race, and then they moved her around to some other events, which was nice for her also because she's a senior and she also wanted to shine in that particular meet. And even though they had a great race, I think Heidi probably would have outtouched her in both races. But Heidi's undefeated right now. She has not lost, and we have moved her around, 200, 500, IM. She swam a really tough IM against from Sartell. I mean, it was a tough race, and she swam a 2:13, which is an incredible time. And so, again, we're really pleased with her efforts. And, of course, she's coming up to her last dual meet of the year because it'll be senior night this coming Tuesday, which I want to spend a little bit of time with her seniors, but it'll be their last meet.
Yeah, and what a year she has had. And the relays, the 200 medley relay again, you start out with the win. That's just, people are going to start saying, okay, let's move on to the second event. The Otters win this one because you always win that one.
Well, and coaches I'm sure they're probably doing this too. They say, well, here's what we're going to do against Fergus. We're going to stack the 200 free relay because we want to win that one. And we'll probably see if we can't stack the 400 free relay because it is hard. We have Abby Fisher in the backstroke, and she's very dynamic in the 50, and she's always gotten, either she has outtouched her opponent or else it's been really close if she hasn't. And then, of course, Heidi is probably the fastest breaststroker in our section, our conference. And same thing, when you have Heidi in the breaststroke, she picks up about 4 yards. Susie is a very solid 50 butterfly, so Kisman, so she does a great job there. And then we end up with Taylor Monk, who's probably, to be honest with you, one of the fastest starts that we have on that relay. She's very explosive. She has great turns and great finish. So it's a relay that's really fun to watch. And we have always kind of, it's like, we get to see this a lot, but we're really going to miss this when this group kind of merges out and we remesh for next year.
Susie Kitzman also won the 200 freestyle for you, and Susie seems to have just continued to make great progress this year.
Well, she has, and we really don't know what we're going to do for sections, so that's part of the dilemma too. Is we're trying to figure out the individual medley is really hard on her. I mean, it's a tricky event because it's a 50 yards of 4 different strokes, and it's all out. And with a 200 freestyle, there is actually where you can actually kind of figure out the race plan that we can take the first 100 out at a measured pace, and then hit it up a little bit harder. And so we put Susan at 200. She's done very well. She swam one of her best times ever of the season, and winning that event was very important. And then, of course, we've always put her in the butterfly because it's her specialty, and she looks very strong in that.
How about Abby Fisher's backstroke right now?
It's right on. I mean, she's had some unbelievable races in that, and she's consistent with her time, and we're really happy with that. I think in this meet here, she swam, I guess, 104, I think it was, as a guess, and that was 104.6. So that's a nice time. She's done 103, but she's been really consistent. We're really stacked in the backstroke. We have Sophie Carlson swam a very good meet, particularly in the relay. She had one of her best splits in the 400 free relay. But Sophie's backstroke, Sophie swims a 200 freestyle relay. We put her in the 200 free relay because we want to get a split. And within 2 minutes later, well, we'll say 5 minutes later, she's swimming the 100-yard backstroke at an all-out pace. She's racing a girl from Tech that probably was fresh, and that girl just out-touched her. And I've been so impressed by how Sophie has really raced as a competitor and has really disciplined herself. She's done a great job.
Talk a little more about that 200 free relay, because I know they didn't win the event, but they had their best time, didn't they?
They did. You know, we put in 4 kids that had even splits in the 50 because we're trying to figure out what we might do for if we would do a section state combo like that. And we started with Rachel Appert. And Rachel Appert, to dovetail in diving, did great in diving. She took second place in diving. And, you know, she's very poised in her diving. But then she comes out, she's a very good swimmer, especially in our relays. And so she started out and she swam at 27, and we had Sophie Carlson 27, and we had Abby Fisher and Danny Ross in 26. And that's just a nice relay to look at. And, again, they performed well, and they took a solid second place.
And Rachel Appert was on that 400 freestyle relay team,
yeah.
too.
Yeah, and she swam a very nice split there, too. And we just mix and match our relays because we just wanted to see what the times would look like. And you have to compare apples to apples, you know, kind of like. So we want to make sure that we really had, you know, some true tests here to see what we can do. And the key to relays here is that you like to have five really solid swimmers because you never know who might get injured, who might get hurt. And the game plan right now is to plan ahead and make wise choices.
So you're trying to figure all that out. You have the one home meet with Sauk Rapids Rice. Who will make that final decision, Tom? Will it be a group of people? Will it be you and Joyce and the swimmers, or will it be you and Joyce, or will it be the dictatorship there coming in? You saying this is what's going to happen?
Well, swimming is a pretty pure sport. We have something called a stopwatch. And they say a stopwatch really doesn't care about your ego. It doesn't really care about what your name is.
Yeah.
So it's pretty pure. We would love to have everyone swim relays. I mean, you know, if we had our wish, we wish we could have 2 relays going to state. I mean, we just don't have that luxury. So we have to use the stopwatch and be fair, and be fair to everyone, be fair to the relay members and everyone else. So we're lucky. We have a stopwatch, but at the same time, we also have the area which is subjective, which is how well do you perform under competition and pressure, how well do you taper. And those are elements, and also we kind of look at the senior element of it, too, the experience part of it. So there's a lot of different shades in there, too, but we're very fortunate we do have a stopwatch time, and if it's really obvious by a second or a second and a half, then you can make that decision a little bit easier.
Let me ask you this. In wrestling, in practice, guys can have a wrestle-off. Can there be, for a position, a swim-off?
We've done it, and it doesn't work in practice.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. And it's a great question. Wrestling, I think it works because it's one-on-one, and it's pretty equal. But there's something about the element of competition. There's something about the element of the meet, the deck. It sounds, you know, it's kind of like it's that whole atmosphere thing that makes a big difference. So we've done that before. I can remember way back we used to bring in officials. We used to have, you know, we put the lanes in. We get parents in there, and we get the stopwatches, and we have it documented to qualify for sections usually. And it just doesn't work.
Okay.
I mean,
well, tell us about what to expect on Tuesday night with Sauk Rapids Rice in town.
Well, Tuesday night's going to be a really special night for us because we're going to be honoring 5 seniors. And I just want to go on. We already talked about Heidi and Sophie and Susie, but Shauna Stolman will be swimming her last meet as an Otter at home. And, you know, and she's put a lot of time in the program. She's a very good breaststroke. It's very consistent and really is a big team member. And Greta Nicomo is our other senior, and same thing, she swims with butterfly and breaststroke. But again, what I appreciate these girls is their maturity and how well they lead the team. Sauk Rapids Rice is they're an even team with us. I think we have 1 win over theirs. I think we have 3 losses. I think they have 4 losses. And so it should be a really good meet. They're great in diving. I mean, they'll have some great divers. But I would just say to everyone, if you haven't had a chance to watch the swimming yet, this would be a really good night to come out because you know, people like Heidi Buzak and Susie Kitzman and Sophie Carlson and Shauna and Greta, these are people you really want to watch and see them swim the last time because we're going to try to see how close Heidi can get to maybe setting a couple records. But that's not easy to do either because, you know, we're not taper. We don't taper for a meet like this, so we'll swim pretty hard Monday. because we are really into what we want to do for sections and state, especially state.
Does it get any easier as a longtime coach, Tom, when these seniors hit the water for the last time at home? You've seen them come from guppies, I think they're called, at the very beginning, all the way up to where they're at now.
You know, I saw all these kids swim. You know, some of them have seen some of their very first 4 strokes. So it's hard. You know, it makes no difference how strong they are, or how powerful they are. It's fun to see what the sport has given them as individuals, and so it'll be a moment where I'll be reflective afterwards. Usually at a meet like this, I'll spend at least an extra half hour on the deck. I won't leave. I'll just kind of think about different scenes that I remember them in racing or else USS. I was thinking about our pool. You know, our swimming pool is our USS pool, so this is where the kids compete. You know, in some towns they have a 50-meter outdoor pool, and they have, you know, then they have their high school pool. But for us, we have it all here. It's one package. So there's a lot of great history there.
Yeah, pretty special place for them.
Yeah, it is.
All right, fans will enjoy supporting them Tuesday night at the final home meet of the season, and for those seniors of their home career. So, all right, Tom, great. Anything else you need to mention before we leave?
Well, you know, I got my shopping list here, but if I could just mention maybe just 2 more. Emily Hexum is really doing great in the 500. You know, we've used her in the breaststroke and anything, actually. She can swim. Ann Childs had an incredible meet. She swam the 200 IM. And Ingrid Nickelmo swam her best butterfly of the year, and we're very, very happy for that. And good team. Our 7th and 8th graders now will be leaving us after this meet on Tuesday. They've done very well. And we've been trying to remind them constantly that when they swim B events, they're swimming against high school kids. So sometimes they may take a 2nd or a 3rd, and we're saying you're going against like a sophomore, maybe even a junior. So we're really pleased with their performances and how well they've worked out.
All right, Coach, thanks for being with us this morning. Tom Uvaas of the Otter girls swimming and diving team.
All right, we're going to take a quick timeout, come back, talk about volleyball. A good week for Renee Erickson and the Otter volleyball team. 2-1 and a big upset victory over a state-ranked team. We'll come back and talk about it next from the Minnesota Motor Company on AM 1250 KBRF.